this.
Okay, so what was your job in the military?
In the Navy?
In the military,
Yeah, I
yeah.
was in the Navy.
You're in the Navy.
I went to radar school out of boot camp, and I was assigned to a seaplane tender, which was assigned to Fleet Air Wing 17, and they did air-sea rescue. We flew the PBM Mariners, are strictly seaplane. No, they weren't like the Catalinas, which had the wheels on them too, but these were only seaplanes. And we were involved in picking up pilots that had been shot down and survivors from ships and such things.
That's cool.
Wow.
Okay, so what were your typical responsibilities in a day?
Well, I was in radar, and we were part of the communications division. Radio and radar were in the same divisions, and general quarters. That was when we went to battle stations, and when we got to Okinawa, they assigned me to be out on the bridge where the captain was, and I loved. I mean, that's going to be a great place to be. I'll see everything. And I went out there the first night we were out there. Went to general quarters and note about an air raid coming over, and I got out there and I flipped the switch on this little tiny switch that lights a panel about that big, and it's just for the captain to see, and hardly noticeable. You can hardly see it. And I flipped it on, and the first thing I heard was turn that light off. So I did. I sat out there and sat in general quarters, just out in the bridge. Everything is going on there, but I didn't have a thing to do.
Okay, have you been? Were you in combat?
Yeah, we were there. We were there till the war ended.
Oh, that's cool.
So maybe specifically some time frame, maybe.
Okay.
When
yeah,
were
how,
you then?
How long?
What was the
We
time
were
frame?
there from. We got there when May of 1945, and we stayed there until the war was ended. Of course, we were there when the atomic bomb was dropped and all.
Oh, okay.
So you were there in Japan area.
We were off Okinawa, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that was
Wow.
cool.
They weren't sure how they were going to go about doing that. Of course, they were talking at that time about invading Japan with an army force, and thank goodness they didn't do that. And Harry Truman was taking President Roosevelt place. And he decided, and thank goodness he did, he decided to use the atomic bomb on Japan to end the war.
Yeah. Right, good idea. Okay, so what did you learn from your experience in the military?
Pardon me?
What did you learn from your experience in the military?
Well, I learned the importance of following orders and just being people cooperating one with another, and that's what it was. It just was so noticeable when people didn't cooperate. We would, radar would pick up their airplanes, they were coming in from Japan. We'd pick them up first, and we had air search and ground search. Of course, the air search was the ones we were maintaining during the night, and we picked them up and would find their airplanes coming over. And most of the time, the ones that were coming in then were the kamikazes, the suicide planes. They're the very popular ones at that time.
Cool. Okay, so in your mind, what justifies going to war?
Well, there was no problem about justification in this one. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, no warning. In fact, they were in the Washington, D.C. area where we were talking peace with the Japanese, and then this happened, and so when you're attacked, you immediately go counterattack. I mean, you have to do it to survive.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think our country has effective power when it comes to war?
I understand now they're not nearly as powerful as they have been. They're not as well prepared as they had been, and which is quite an alarming thing that we have all these possibilities of attack. don't have the firepower to do it like we used to have.
Yeah. Okay. After serving in the military, do you have a greater appreciation for liberty?
Yeah, I think I do. I never had any problem with that from the beginning. I mean, I grew up in the country, and we were in a country school, and we pledged allegiance to the flag every day, and from the time I was in the first grade on up. And so I think that there's far more feeling of loyalty and patriotism and dedication to the country among the majority of the people than there is now. At least that's the idea I got, because I was a little farm boy, and everyone there thought pretty much the same way.
Yeah. Nowadays we don't even say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what is one of your favorite stories of when you were in the military?
Well, the thing I remember so well was when we were anchored in Buckner Bay. There's a name, they called it Buckner Bay, the name of the general who was leading a group of troops at Buckner Bay in Okinawa, and we had our ship anchored there, and our planes took off from there, and if they got any wounded, they brought them back to the hospital. We had a hospital aboard the ship as well, and of course there's a hospital aboard. But we had something that was limited to the communications division for some reason. I don't know why it was, but they had what they called officer guard mail, and we had volunteers who would do that, and I just wanted to get off the ship every chance I got. So I volunteered quite often to go on officer guard mail. What we do, we'd strap a 45 on ourselves and put our leggings on and get on a boat and go to ships where the higher officer, higher command was. And part of it was on Okinawa, and part of it was on the battleship Pennsylvania. But I remember one of the most disturbing things I saw was going off one time and getting on the Isle of Okinawa, and they told us there's one thing you should be aware of, that there's a possibility that we won't get all the snipers off there. There may be some snipers left, so
Yikes.
so anyway, I didn't think much of it, and I went aboard there one time. Was walking along a trail, and they had picked up the dead Marines and soldiers, but they had not picked up the civilians. And the thing that I remember so well was what terrible thing was a mother lying on beside the trail with a little baby in her arms. And I couldn't understand that. You know, they should have picked her up too and buried her, but they didn't. They just had too much to do to take care of our survivors there. But anyway, that was one of the things that I remember was so upsetting to me, was seeing that mom and baby
That's sad.
lying by the road.
Okay, do you have anything to add? Just
No, I guess not. I think we were I was so glad I was in the radar room, and communications. We were right on the top side of the ship. We were right behind the bridge where the Captain Schweel was and all, and I thought how nice that is to be there and know what's going on. And these poor guys that were down in the engine room, and you know, if anything happened, they'd get a fire going down there and they could die. And I was just so glad we were in radar and communications, radio.
I don't know if it's of any interest, but just as a side point, I put an album together of their mom and dad's love letters because they've dated since they were 16.
Oh, wow.
And I put them all in a big, what's that big one back there? All their letters, but a lot of them they wrote back and forth, just really neat letters, and a lot of them have got things cut out.
And I
They
had
were
no
all
idea.
censored.
oh,
I
Yeah.
had no idea she was saving
wow.
the letters I wrote to her.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
wow.
just an amazing history
Interesting.
of the whole, from the time, you know, we left Kalispell and Mom was at BYU finally, and he was over the sea, and it was just so.
Wow.
It was just like,
Cool.
yeah, it was very cool. It was
When I went in the
honor.
Navy, I didn't finish high school. I couldn't wait to get in there. And, when I turned, I wanted my dad to sign my release so I could go in. When I was 17, well, he wouldn't until I was well along in 17 before he let me go. But anyway, I didn't finish high school. I got out and was discharged coming out of California. They said, now you haven't finished high school. Would you like to take a GED test? And I said, yeah, I believe I would. I think I should do that. And I did. I took the GED and did quite well, and at least I got through it. And, then I married Dorothy, and I wanted to go to school. I thought I was thinking of going into pre-dental. So I went into pre-dental we lived in Kalispell. I went into pre-dental course in Bozeman. Went 1 year there, and I thought, well, boy, here I had all these plans for family and all. So anyway, we went 1 year there, and then I decided I'm going to try pharmacy. So anyway, University of Utah. I didn't want to go to this one. I don't know why, but I wanted to go to the University of Utah, which I did. I applied down there, and so I went to. I used up I had just about the absolute right amount of time to use on my GI Bill. So I used that, and I just about, I think I had 3 months left or so. I didn't realize all that, but it was just borderline. But anyway, I got through down there. 3 years, 9 months, and 22 days. I remember so well.
Wow. So you went into the military when you were 17,
Yeah.
and then how long were you?
Well, I signed up for a minority cruise, and that's something I'm glad I did too. You stayed in till you were nearly 21 is what it was. And anyway, they discharged me quite a bit earlier than that, but I got a good deal of time that I needed to finish my school. And I came from a family that neither my mother nor dad had finished high school. This is during the Depression years and everything. So they weren't very pushy on school, but I'm sure glad I stuck with it.
Yeah. So you were 17 when you went into the Navy, and then when did you go over to Japan? Was it right?
I went in the following. I turned 17 in October. I went in April of the next year.
Oh,
And
okay.
did you go right to Japan?
And did you go
Yeah.
right? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then you were over there for how long?
We were there. I was over there till the war ended.
Okay, so it was how long?
So we were only over there about 7 months, I think.
Oh, okay. And then, so you were there when the atomic bomb
Yeah.
was dropped.
Right.
So did you go in after that and help with any of
Yeah,
the
we were
cleanup
assigned
or
to
whatever?
disarm a base there that had been used for building aircraft carriers. And we went in there. Sasebo is where we went, and we were going ashore there to enter that. I thought, well, this is going to be a lot of fun going into there. There was nothing in that aircraft carrier but families living there. They had given up on trying to put it together, so the families were living there, and just a real nice experience going in there. And they were glad to see us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we went to Sasebo and flew over. We were just a little ways from what's the name of that other place? Not Hiroshima, but Nagasaki.
Yeah.
There was the ocean. And we flew over Nagasaki, and all you could see, we flew over one of our PBMs, all you could see was just an occasional chimney standing and nothing else. It was just all
Wow.
wiped out.
Wow. That's, yeah. Yeah. Wow. Anything else you want to ask?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad I could help you out. I hope
Okay.
it's been
Thank
some good to
you.
you.
Yeah.